welcome back. I'm glad you've returned to the silence. We leave the familiar behind to witness the silent beauty of the cosmos as we begin our long, drifting journey toward Europa, the frozen moon of Jupiter. Out here, far beyond the warmth of our own star, the solar system becomes a place of quiet mystery and profound cold. We drift past the rust-colored dunes of Mars, moving effortlessly through the vast and empty spaces that divide the inner planets from the giants of the outer dark. The asteroid belt glides past us, a slow dance of ancient stones floating in the void. Soon, the immense gravity of Jupiter reaches out to guide us in. The gas giant looms ahead like a swirling painting of storms, painted in deep reds, pale yellows, and soft creams. But our destination is not this massive king of planets. Instead, we turn our gaze to a small, bright pearl caught in its eternal orbit. Europa appears before us, shining like a cracked marble against the endless black of space. It is a world wrapped entirely in a thick shell of ice, reflecting the distant, pale light of the sun. From afar, it looks still and frozen, locked in a permanent winter that has lasted for billions of years. Yet beneath this quiet, icy exterior lies a dynamic, hidden reality that challenges everything we know about where life might exist in the universe. We lower our altitude, skimming above the frozen plains, ready to uncover the secrets hidden in the deep, dark waters of an alien ocean. As we glide closer to the surface of Europa, the true nature of this frozen world begins to reveal itself in the delicate patterns etched across its face. The ice shell is not smooth and uniform, but rather deeply scarred with long, dark fractures that stretch for thousands of miles across the pale landscape. These striking lines, colored in reddish-brown hues by mineral deposits from below, look like a vast network of veins pulsing across a living planet. They tell a story of immense forces at work, pulling and tearing at the brittle ice as the moon endlessly orbits its massive parent planet. Jupiter is so incredibly heavy that its gravity constantly stretches and squeezes Europa, creating a powerful friction deep within the core of the moon. This continuous pushing and pulling generates a tremendous amount of internal heat, warming the moon from the inside out, despite the freezing temperatures of space surrounding it. This internal warmth is the key to unlocking the greatest mystery of this icy realm, for it provides the energy needed to melt the underside of the thick frozen crust. Beneath miles and miles of solid, frozen water lies something truly astonishing, a global liquid ocean that wraps around the entire rocky interior of the moon. Scientists believe this hidden sea could be up to 100 miles deep, containing more than twice the amount of liquid water found in all of the oceans on Earth combined. It is difficult to fully grasp the sheer volume of this alien sea, hidden away in eternal darkness, far from the light and warmth of the sun that feeds our own planet. The ice above acts as a massive, protective shield, defending the delicate waters below from the harsh radiation of Jupiter and the freezing vacuum of deep space. When we look closely at the frozen plains of this alien world, we notice something highly unusual for a celestial body in our solar system. The surface is incredibly smooth, almost completely missing the deep impact craters that heavily scar the faces of our own moon and other neighboring worlds. This lack of ancient craters tells a fascinating scientific story, suggesting that the outer shell of ice is geologically very young and constantly reshaping itself. The ocean beneath must be in constant motion, occasionally breaking through the frozen crust to smooth over old impacts with fresh liquid water that instantly freezes in the cold of space. It is a world that is constantly erasing its own history, renewing its icy face while protecting the ancient, liquid secrets hidden down below. Imagine sinking beneath that thick, protective barrier, leaving the frozen surface behind and entering a vast, silent world of liquid water. In this lightless ocean, the pressure is immense, yet the environment may be surprisingly stable and dynamic, driven by the heat rising from the rocky ocean floor. Deep ocean currents might circulate around the globe, carrying vital minerals and chemicals from the warm core up toward the icy ceiling. The interaction between the liquid water and the rocky mantle below is particularly exciting, as it creates the perfect conditions for chemical reactions that are essential for life as we know it. On our own planet, similar interactions at the bottom of the deep ocean give rise to hydrothermal vents, where mineral-rich water blasts out of the sea floor, supporting complex ecosystems that never see a single drop of sunlight. We cannot help but wonder if similar vents exist in the dark depths of Europa, silently pumping warmth and nutrients into the alien water. If they do, they could provide a safe haven, a small pocket of energy and chemistry where microscopic forms of life might have taken hold billions of years ago. The very thought that we might not be alone, that life could exist in the lightless depths of a moon orbiting Jupiter, completely reshapes our understanding of our place in the cosmos. The dark, reddish lines crisscrossing the surface above us suddenly look less like simple cracks in the ice and more like windows into a vibrant, hidden world. Every time the ice shifts and breaks, small amounts of the ocean below might be pushed up toward the surface, freezing rapidly and leaving behind chemical clues for us to eventually find. As we drift slowly over this frozen puzzle, the silence of space is profound, yet the moon beneath us feels incredibly active, quietly humming with the energy of its hidden ocean and the endless possibilities it silently guards. Floating upward from those hypothetical warm vents at the ocean floor, we eventually reach the ceiling of this dark, aquatic world. The underside of the ice shell is a landscape just as complex and mysterious as the rocky bottom below. It is not a flat, smooth mirror of frozen water, but a rugged, inverted topography of deep ice valleys and towering, submerged mountains. This frozen roof is constantly shifting and groaning under the immense gravitational pull of the gas giant it orbits. The ice shell, though incredibly thick and seemingly impenetrable from the outside, is entirely alive with slow, deliberate motion. Scientists have observed vast regions on the surface known as chaos terrains, where the otherwise smooth ice appears to have been shattered into thousands of massive, jagged blocks. These immense icebergs seem to have drifted apart, tilted, and then frozen solid once more in a chaotic, jumbled puzzle. Looking at these fractured landscapes, we can almost see the history of the moon frozen in time, capturing moments when warmer slush or liquid water from the deep ocean swelled upward, melting and breaking the rigid crust above it. This slow churning of the ice is a process called convection, where warmer, buoyant ice slowly rises from the ocean boundary, while colder, denser ice from the surface slowly sinks downward over thousands of years. This vertical movement within the frozen shell is perhaps the most crucial process for the possibility of life in the dark waters below. The surface of this moon is constantly bombarded by intense radiation, trapped within the massive magnetic field of Jupiter. This relentless shower of high-energy particles is incredibly hostile, destroying any biological molecules that might exist on the exposed exterior. Yet this same destructive radiation performs a delicate chemical alchemy on the frozen water, breaking apart the simple molecules and recombining them into reactive compounds like oxygen and hydrogen peroxide. If the ice shell were perfectly static, these potentially life-giving chemicals would remain forever trapped on the frozen surface, completely isolated from the liquid ocean below. But because the ice is constantly churning, slowly cycling material between the dark void of space and the hidden sea. These vital elements can eventually be carried downward into the abyss. It is a beautiful, slow-motion conveyor belt, taking the destructive energy of the cosmos and transforming it into the very fuel that could sustain an entire ecosystem in the absolute dark. Imagine those oxygen-rich compounds finally reaching the melting boundary of the hidden ocean, dissolving into the alien water and drifting slowly through the lightless currents. When human-made spacecraft first captured detailed images of these fractured regions, it sparked a profound debate among the brilliant minds studying this distant world. Some researchers look at the chaos terrain and see evidence of a relatively thin ice shell, perhaps only a few miles thick in certain places, where the ocean might easily break through to the surface. Others study the same deep ridges and complex folds, interpreting them as signs of a much thicker crust, perhaps tens of miles deep, where only the slow, creeping movement of warm ice acts as a mediator between the surface and the sea. Regardless of the exact thickness, the undeniable truth is that the shell is a dynamic, breathing barrier rather than a dead, frozen wall. We can picture the immense pressure building beneath the ice, a silent, global heartbeat driven by the gravitational dance with the largest planet in our solar system. The friction generates just enough warmth to keep the delicate balance of the moon intact, preventing the ocean from freezing solid while keeping the protective outer layer strong enough to shield the fragile environment within. As we drift slowly over these massive, frozen jigsaw puzzles, we can appreciate the incredible resilience of this world, a delicate sphere of liquid and ice, surviving in an environment that should be entirely hostile to any form of movement or change. The chaos terrain is not a sign of destruction, but rather a profound indicator of vitality, a geological heartbeat echoing across the quiet expanse of the outer solar system. Moving our thoughts beyond the slowly churning ice, we must consider the actual composition of the dark water that fills this global, subterranean basin. For life to spark and sustain itself in the absence of sunlight, it requires more than just liquid water and a source of heat. It demands a very specific recipe of chemical ingredients, a complex soup of elements that can combine and interact in endless, intricate patterns. On our home planet, we often refer to the 6 essential building blocks of biology: carbon, hydrogen, nitrogen, oxygen, phosphorus, and sulfur. These elemental ingredients must be present in the right concentrations, dissolved within the water to create an environment where complex molecules can begin to form and evolve. We believe that when this icy moon first formed billions of years ago from the swirling disk of dust and gas surrounding the infant Jupiter, it gathered up a rich supply of these crucial elements. The rocky core deep beneath the ocean is likely composed of silicate rocks and minerals, very similar to the deep mantle of our own world, constantly interacting with the warm, pressurized water above it. This continuous contact between the liquid sea and the rocky sea floor acts as a massive, natural laboratory, slowly dissolving vital minerals and carrying them upward into the global ocean currents. We actually have incredible, invisible evidence that this ocean is far from a pure, distilled body of water, but rather a rich, highly conductive, salty brine. As the massive gas giant spins through space, it generates an immense, sweeping magnetic field that continuously washes over its entire system of orbiting moons. When our robotic explorers flew past this icy world, their sensitive instruments detected something absolutely extraordinary happening within the invisible magnetic environment. The moon was not simply ignoring the powerful magnetic sweep of its parent planet, but was actually generating its own secondary magnetic field in response to the changing forces around it. In the realm of physics, this phenomenon can only occur if there is a massive, global layer of an electrically conductive fluid hidden just beneath the surface of the moon. A frozen shell of solid ice cannot conduct electricity in this manner, and neither can a core of solid rock, leaving only one logical and magnificent conclusion for the scientists observing from afar. There must be an unbroken, global ocean of salty liquid water acting as a giant, spherical conductor, reacting to the magnetic dance of the solar system. The presence of these dissolved salts, likely variations of magnesium, iron, and sodium, tells us that the water is chemically active and incredibly rich in the very materials needed to support biological processes. We can imagine the taste of that alien water, intensely briny and metallic, swirling in the absolute darkness under pressures that would easily crush human steel. It is a chemical oasis, locked away in the freezing void, a hidden crucible where the fundamental laws of chemistry are quietly experimenting in the dark, away from the prying eyes of the universe. The delicate balance of a slightly acidic or alkaline ocean could provide the necessary gradients, the subtle differences in chemical energy that microscopic organisms exploit to power their tiny, invisible lives. Without the warmth of a nearby star to drive photosynthesis, any potential biology in this dark sea would have to rely entirely on chemosynthesis, drawing energy strictly from the slow, steady chemical reactions happening in the water around them. This shifts our entire perspective on the nature of life, suggesting that the universe might be filled with quiet, hidden ecosystems thriving in the dark, completely unaware of the stars shining above their frozen, protective skis. As we float silently in our minds through this vast, salty expanse, the cold emptiness of space feels incredibly distant, replaced by the profound realization that we are drifting through an invisible, magnetic sea of endless possibility. Let us rise once more from those dark, chemically rich depths, leaving the quiet hum of the magnetic ocean floor to travel back up through the immense layers of freezing water. As we approach the frozen ceiling of this hidden sea, we encounter regions where the dynamic forces of the moon become overwhelmingly apparent, revealing that the ocean does not always stay quietly contained beneath its icy shield. Scientists observing this distant world from the comfort of our own planet have witnessed fleeting, ghostly apparitions appearing near the edges of the moon, towering columns of water vapor erupting into the vacuum of space. These magnificent geysers, stretching sometimes more than 100 miles high above the pale surface, offer a breathtaking visual confirmation that the subterranean world is deeply restless and highly active. The immense gravitational tidal forces pulling at the moon do not merely warm the interior and churn the ice slowly, but they also violently rip open massive fissures in the frozen crust. When these deep fractures reach down into isolated pockets of liquid water, or perhaps all the way down to the global ocean itself, the highly pressurized liquid rushes upward, seeking an immediate escape from the immense crushing forces below. Because the surface is exposed to the absolute vacuum of the cosmos, the escaping liquid does not flow like a river, but rather instantly flashes into a turbulent mixture of vapor and incredibly fine ice crystals. It shoots outward at incredible supersonic speeds, looking like a majestic, silent fountain playing gracefully against the total darkness of the outer solar system. Understanding the mechanics of these spectacular eruptions changes the way we think about the physics of this frozen world, highlighting the beautiful struggle between heat and the absolute cold of space. In a normal environment without an atmosphere, any exposed liquid water would freeze solid in an instant, quickly plugging up any crack or fissure and trapping the ocean once again. However, the relentless gravitational squeezing from the massive gas giant creates so much intense friction along the walls of these deep canyons that the ice physically rubs together, generating enough localized heat to keep the vents temporarily open. This allows the water to continuously spray out into the void for hours or even days before the changing tides of the moon finally allow the massive cracks to squeeze shut once more. Observing these transient plumes from Earth is an incredibly difficult task, requiring the most powerful space telescopes to carefully monitor the ultraviolet light emitted by the moon. By watching how the invisible magnetic field of the gas giant interacts with the escaping water molecules, astronomers can detect the faint, glowing auroras created by the vapor, proving beyond a doubt that the ocean is leaking into the sky. The presence of these towering plumes means that the moon is actively venting its deepest, darkest secrets directly into the open space above, offering a profound and unprecedented gift to any robotic explorer passing by. We do not necessarily need to build massive, impossible drilling machines to plunge into the abyss to taste the alien ocean, because the ocean is actively reaching out into the void, scattering its chemical makeup across the heavens. Imagine standing on the quiet, frozen plains of this moon, looking up into the pitch-black sky as one of these massive fissures violently tears open in the distance. There would be no sound at all in the vacuum of space, only a silent, explosive release of brilliant white mist shooting endlessly upward, catching the pale, distant light of the sun. The tiny droplets of water and delicate ice crystals would hang suspended in the low gravity, forming a glowing, ethereal cloud before slowly beginning their long, graceful, floating descent back to the surface. Over millions of years, this falling snow of ocean water coats the surrounding landscape, painting the jagged ice ridges and smooth plains with fresh deposits of salts and complex minerals drawn directly from the sea floor. Every time the ice cracks and the ocean breathes its misty breath into the void, it gently scatters tiny puzzle pieces of its internal environment across the surface, patiently waiting for us to come and piece together the story of life. It is a beautiful, deeply poetic mechanism of nature, where a world sealed in an impenetrable vault of ice still manages to share its inner beauty and its potential for biology with the rest of the universe. By carefully studying the subtle colors and the specific wavelengths of light reflecting off this freshly fallen oceanic snow, scientists can read the distinct chemical signature of the hidden waters below without ever touching the liquid itself. It transforms the entire surface of the moon into an open book, a frozen archive holding the vital clues to understanding whether the dark waters below are currently hosting the spark of biological creation. Humanity is no longer content to simply watch these silent eruptions from a great distance, and so we are preparing to answer the call of this active, whispering ocean with our own highly sophisticated emissaries. A marvel of human engineering and boundless scientific ambition is embarking on the long, quiet journey across the cold, lonely divide of the solar system, specifically designed to read the delicate chemical poetry written in the ice. Traveling across the vast emptiness of interplanetary space requires immense patience, as the golden spacecraft must coast for years through the silent void, relying on the gravitational pull of other planets to slowly sling it outward toward the realm of the gas giants. This incredibly advanced robotic explorer is not designed to land on the treacherous, deeply fractured surface, but rather to perform a beautifully choreographed, highly complex dance in orbit around the massive planet, gracefully sweeping past the icy moon dozens of times. The radiation environment surrounding this part of the solar system is incredibly harsh, filled with highly charged particles that would easily destroy unshielded computer systems in a matter of hours. To survive this invisible storm, the most sensitive mechanical brains and delicate instruments of the spacecraft are sealed away inside a heavy, impenetrable vault of solid titanium, ensuring they can function perfectly even in the most hostile conditions imaginable. With each terrifyingly close encounter, the spacecraft will swoop down over the glowing white plains and the dark, reddish scars, moving fast enough to avoid the worst of the destructive radiation, while lingering just long enough to gather a massive treasure trove of precious data. The incredibly diverse instruments carried upon this lonely traveler act as highly advanced extensions of human senses, capable of seeing, tasting, and feeling the moon in profound ways we never could on our own. A powerful, ice-penetrating radar will send invisible waves of electromagnetic energy deep into the frozen crust, waiting patiently for the subtle echoes to return and reveal the complex, hidden architecture of the entire shell. This groundbreaking technology will finally allow us to map the submerged mountains and the hidden, inverted valleys of ice, accurately measuring the exact thickness of the barrier and confirming the precise boundaries where the liquid water finally meets the frozen sky. Highly sensitive thermal cameras will continuously scan the dark, night side of the moon, looking for the absolute faintest signatures of unexpected heat radiating from beneath the heavily scarred surface. These instruments are hunting for the warm, active zones where the liquid ocean might be churning closest to the surface, pinpointing the exact locations where the chaotic terrain is still actively forming and shifting in the dark. By meticulously mapping these subtle temperature differences across the entire globe, the spacecraft will identify the very best and most active locations for future generations of scientists to perhaps send robotic landers, carefully guiding our ongoing quest to find the perfect, crystalline window into the deep. Most thrilling of all is the genuine possibility that this robotic scout might fly directly through one of the towering, invisible water plumes, opening its specialized instruments to physically capture the falling snow and the misty, escaping breath of the ocean. High-resolution mass spectrometers will carefully vaporize and analyze the captured ice crystals, acting like an incredibly sensitive mechanical nose, meticulously sniffing for the complex chains of carbon, hydrogen, and nitrogen that form the fundamental basis of all known biology. While the spacecraft itself may not be explicitly equipped to capture a living, microscopic organism, finding the right combinations of amino acids and complex organic compounds within the fresh plume material would be a truly monumental revelation for the people of Earth. It would prove beyond any shadow of a reasonable doubt that the dark, salty waters below contain all the necessary, fundamental ingredients to spark and sustain a living ecosystem, shifting the moon from a place of mere scientific potential to a highly probable sanctuary for alien life. As we envision this shining, golden spacecraft silently gliding through the ethereal mist of a distant waterspout, we are deeply reminded of the boundless, beautiful curiosity that drives us to look upward and outward into the endless dark. The long, patient journey to understand this frozen pearl is a magnificent testament to our profound desire to know we are not alone. A quiet, continuing search for a familiar, comforting spark of life hidden away in the most unexpected and beautiful corners of the cosmic ocean. As we consider the incredible instruments of our golden spacecraft and the misty plumes they seek to capture, we must also reflect on the hidden ingredient that transforms simple chemistry into the profound miracle of biology. That invisible, essential element is the silent passage of deep time, a resource that this frozen moon possesses in almost unimaginable abundance. When we look at the cosmic history of our solar system, we understand that this ocean is not a temporary anomaly or a fleeting puddle of melted ice, but an ancient, enduring feature of the landscape. It is highly probable that the dark, salty waters beneath the icy shell have existed in their current liquid state for billions of years, perhaps dating all the way back to the chaotic birth of the gas giant itself. In the very early days of the solar system, when rogue asteroids and violent collisions were constantly tearing developing planets apart, the thick frozen crust acted as a magnificent, impenetrable shield. While the surface of our own world was being bombarded by cataclysmic impacts, scorched by intense volcanic eruptions, and stripped by powerful solar winds, the hidden waters of this distant moon remained perfectly insulated, resting quietly in the dark. This incredible long-term stability is absolutely crucial for the delicate, fragile processes that lead to the creation of life, providing a calm and protected environment where simple molecules can slowly learn to assemble themselves. Water is the ultimate universal solvent, and over the course of millions of centuries, it has patiently dissolved the rocky sea floor, drawing out a rich tapestry of heavy metals, carbon compounds, and vital salts. The discovery of this enduring ocean fundamentally rewrote our entire understanding of the habitable zone, proving that a planet does not need to bask in the warm, comfortable glow of a star to sustain the conditions necessary for life. The continuous, rhythmic gravitational dance between the moon and its massive parent planet has maintained a steady, reliable heartbeat of thermal energy throughout this immense expanse of time. Because the moon is locked in a perfect, eternal orbital resonance with its neighboring celestial bodies, the pushing and pulling forces have remained wonderfully consistent, preventing the ocean from ever freezing completely solid or boiling away into the vacuum of space. This delicate equilibrium creates a perfect, sustained cradle for chemical evolution, allowing countless generations of molecular combinations to form, break apart, and recombine without the threat of sudden environmental collapse. When scientists study the rocky, barren deserts of Mars, or the toxic, crushing atmosphere of Venus, they see worlds where the conditions for life might have existed for only a brief, fleeting moment before violently changing and destroying any progress that had been made. But beneath the pale, scarred ice of this Jovian moon, the conditions have likely remained remarkably unchanged for an eternity, offering a continuous, unbroken chain of habitable conditions that stretches back to the dawn of the solar system. On our home planet, it took hundreds of millions of years of chemical trial and error within our primordial oceans for the very first single-celled organisms to finally emerge and take hold. When we apply that same slow, methodical timeline to the ancient waters of this frozen world, we realize that biology has had more than enough time to patiently weave its complex patterns in the dark. We can imagine the deep ocean vents endlessly exhaling their warm, mineral-rich breath century after century, millennium after millennium, creating a stable, continuous supply of energy that never fades. It is a profound thought to consider that while entire mountain ranges on Earth have risen and eroded away, and while giant land masses have drifted and collided to form new continents, the dark waters of this distant moon have simply continued their quiet, steady churning. This uninterrupted stretch of deep time means that if a biological spark ever did ignite in those alien depths, it has had an absolute eternity to slowly adapt, evolve, and spread throughout the global sea. Drifting downward once more in our minds, past the protective vault of the ancient ice, we find ourselves completely immersed in the absolute, lightless reality of the deep ocean, wondering what shapes and forms life might actually take in such an extreme environment. Without a single photon of sunlight ever piercing the thick frozen ceiling, the familiar green landscapes of plants and algae that form the foundation of our own world's ecosystems simply cannot exist here. Instead, any potential biology would be entirely driven by the invisible chemical gradients surrounding the thermal vents at the ocean floor, anchoring a food web built completely on the slow consumption of sulfur, iron, and methane. We can look to the deepest, most inaccessible trenches of our own planet's oceans for a glimpse into this alien possibility, where entire communities of bizarre, wonderful creatures thrive in permanent darkness and crushing pressure. In these terrestrial deep-sea environments, vast mats of specialized bacteria blanket the rocky chimneys, eating the harsh, boiling chemicals expelled from the Earth's crust and transforming them into biological energy through a process known as chemosynthesis. It is highly logical to imagine similar fields of microbial life coating the rocky sea floor of this distant moon, silently feeding on the steady flow of nutrients provided by the internal, tidal heat of the world. The physical weight of an ocean that is potentially 100 miles deep creates an environment of immense, almost incomprehensible hydrostatic pressure. But water is fundamentally incompressible, meaning that any organism evolving here would simply equalize its internal pressure to match the heavy world around it, feeling no discomfort in the crushing abyss. If we allow our imaginations to drift just a little further along the evolutionary path, we might envision slightly more complex organisms grazing upon these bacterial fields, slowly navigating the gentle, warm currents that rise from the scattered thermal vents. Because the overall temperature of the massive global ocean is likely very near the absolute freezing point of water, any alien creatures would likely possess incredibly slow metabolisms, living out their quiet lives in a beautiful, deliberate state of slow motion. Conserving energy would be the absolute highest priority for any living thing in this cold, dark expanse, resulting in graceful, slow-moving forms that perfectly harmonize with the gentle rhythms of the deep currents. There would be absolutely no need for eyes in a world completely devoid of ambient light, so these hypothetical beings might rely entirely on highly sensitive chemical receptors, carefully tasting the water to navigate their dark, liquid universe. They might possess delicate, feathery appendages to filter the passing currents for microscopic sustenance, gently drifting like ghostly, translucent umbrellas through the eternal night of the subterranean sea. Sound travels incredibly well through liquid water, moving far faster and more efficiently than it does through the air, suggesting that the ocean might be filled with low, rumbling acoustic songs as creatures communicate across the vast, empty distances without ever needing to see one another. The lack of changing seasons on the surface means that the deep ocean experiences a beautiful, eternal sameness, an unchanging environment where survival depends entirely on efficiency and harmony with the chemical vents. Perhaps in the absolute pitch black of the ocean, some of these creatures have even evolved the stunning ability to create their own biological light, utilizing bioluminescence to attract prey or signal to one another in the crushing void. Imagine floating in that freezing, heavy darkness, only to see a slow, rhythmic pulsing of soft blue or pale green light emerging from the abyss, a silent, glowing testament to the sheer tenacity of life in the universe. Whether the ocean is home to nothing more than a quiet, invisible soup of simple, drifting microbes, or whether it hides gentle, luminescent swimmers gliding through the dark, the very existence of this stable, ancient habitat expands our understanding of where biology can flourish. The frozen shell above hides a vast, quiet symphony of chemical potential, a serene and permanent ecosystem operating entirely independently of the warming sun, patiently waiting in the cold, silent depths of the outer solar system. As we drift away from the glowing, bioluminescent dreams of the deep ocean, it is essential to understand why this specific moon captures our imagination so fiercely compared to the other frozen wanderers of our solar system. The universe is incredibly vast, and even within the gravitational embrace of our own sun, there are several other worlds that harbor hidden bodies of liquid water beneath their silent surfaces. We look at the massive moon Ganymede, the largest satellite in our cosmic neighborhood, which also conceals an ocean of immense proportions within its icy depths. Yet, the architectural layout of that giant moon presents a profound obstacle for the delicate chemistry of life, because its ocean is likely trapped entirely between two incredibly thick, impenetrable layers of solid ice. This means the liquid water never touches the mineral-rich rocky core below, effectively starving the ocean of the essential chemical reactions needed to spark biology. Europa, however, possesses a beautifully different internal structure, one that perfectly mimics the life-giving conditions found at the very bottom of our own terrestrial oceans. Here, the dark, salty water sits in direct, unbroken contact with the warm, shifting rocky mantle of the moon's deep interior. This continuous, intimate embrace between liquid and stone is the defining feature that elevates this icy world from a mere reservoir of water to the absolute most promising crucible for life in the outer dark. When the pressurized ocean water seeps down into the microscopic cracks and fissures of the rocky seabed, it is gently heated by the internal tidal friction of the moon and chemically altered by the raw minerals of the ancient mantle. This warm, altered fluid is then forced back up into the freezing ocean depths, creating a perpetual cycle of hydrothermal activity that continuously enriches the entire global sea with the fundamental building blocks of biology. Let us softly drift closer to that rugged, unseen seafloor to witness the silent chemical alchemy taking place in the total darkness. When the briny ocean water interacts with the iron and magnesium-rich rocks of the moon's deep interior, a profound transformation occurs, releasing abundant amounts of hydrogen gas directly into the surrounding dark water. This invisible, bubbling gas acts as a highly potent source of chemical energy, a fundamental fuel that microscopic organisms can effortlessly consume and utilize to build the complex, intricate structures of life. On our own world, entire thriving ecosystems depend heavily on this exact same geological process, surviving completely independently of the warming sun by patiently harvesting the energy locked within these deep sea exhalations. The immense pressure of the heavy ocean above ensures that these vital gases remain completely dissolved in the water, creating a rich, nourishing broth that slowly circulates throughout the entire global sea on slow, deliberate currents. Because the relentless tidal forces of the massive gas giant constantly massage and flex the rocky interior of the moon, the seafloor is likely a highly active and shifting landscape, constantly fracturing and exposing fresh, unweathered rock to the hungry ocean waters above. This continuous renewal is absolutely essential, for an inactive world would eventually run out of available chemical energy, slowly drifting into a state of silent, frozen, lifeless equilibrium. But this resilient moon refuses to rest, its rocky heart constantly beating with the rhythmic, gravitational pulse of its long orbit, ensuring that the warm, mineral-rich breath of the mantle never ceases its vital flow into the abyss. The beautifully complex interaction between the crushing weight of the dark ocean, the gentle, persistent tidal heating, and the rich chemical composition of the rock creates a perfect storm of habitability, a delicate balance maintained flawlessly over billions of quiet years. We can almost feel the gentle hum of this planetary engine, a quiet, reassuring vibration echoing through the dark, salty water, promising a continuous, unending supply of warmth and pure sustenance to any fragile life that might be listening in the dark. When we compare this vibrant, active underwater sanctuary to the barren, heavily irradiated deserts of Mars, the contrast is truly striking. While the red planet may have once held shallow seas and flowing rivers in its ancient past, those life-sustaining conditions vanished billions of years ago, leaving behind a frozen, desolate wasteland completely exposed to the harsh vacuum of space. But here, hidden beneath a protective shell of shifting ice, the ocean has remained safe, warm, and chemically active for almost the entire history of the solar system, providing an unbroken, continuous timeline for life to patiently take hold and flourish. Contemplating the deep, enduring stability of this hidden ocean leads us to a profound realization that completely reshapes our understanding of the universe and our place within it. For generations, humanity looked up at the glowing tapestry of the night sky and believed that finding another living world required searching for exact replicas of our own blue and green home. We defined a strict, narrow band around every star, a delicate habitable zone where the temperature was just right for liquid water to pool openly on the surface of a rocky planet. We assumed that life absolutely required the gentle warmth of a nearby sun, a thick, breathable atmosphere, and the comforting cycle of familiar days and seasons to survive the harsh reality of space. But the silent, frozen beauty of this distant moon completely shatters those old assumptions, presenting us with a radically different and far more expansive blueprint for biological existence. If the dark, pressurized waters beneath this icy shell do indeed harbor thriving ecosystems of microscopic organisms, or gentle, luminescent swimmers, it means that the traditional rules of habitability are far too limited for the sheer creativity of the cosmos. It implies that the universe does not strictly need the comforting light of a star to spark the miracle of biology, relying instead on the hidden gravitational friction between massive planets and their orbiting companions. This singular realization geometrically multiplies the number of potentially habitable worlds scattered across the endless expanse of the Milky Way galaxy, transforming the cold, outer edges of solar systems into vast, untapped frontiers of life. Whenever we look through our telescopes and discover giant, swirling exoplanets orbiting distant, unknown stars, we must now assume that they too might be accompanied by retinues of frozen moons, each quietly harboring a dark, internal ocean. The implications of this are beautifully staggering, suggesting that ice-covered ocean worlds might actually be the most common type of habitat in the entire universe, vastly outnumbering the rare, exposed rocky planets like our own. Our bright, sunlit world, with its open oceans and shifting weather, might actually be the exception to the cosmic rule, an unusual, chaotic anomaly in a universe filled with quiet, stable, subterranean sanctuaries. We are forced to fundamentally rethink the very definition of a life-bearing world, moving away from the familiar image of green continents and blue skies, and embracing the profound potential of scarred, pale spheres floating in eternal twilight. Imagine the sheer number of these frozen pearls drifting silently through the cosmic ocean, billions upon billions of hidden seas, completely disconnected from the light of any star, yet humming quietly with the internal energy of gravity and chemical creation. The thought brings a deep sense of comfort and connection, a realization that the vast, seemingly empty voids between the stars might actually be teeming with slow, patient biology, safely tucked away beneath miles of protective ice. If life can independently arise and survive in the absolute darkness of this Jovian moon, separated from our world by millions of miles of empty space, then the spark of creation is not a rare, miraculous accident, but a fundamental, inevitable property of the universe itself. It means that biology is deeply woven into the very fabric of nature, waiting patiently in the dark for the right combination of water, heat, and rock to quietly begin its incredible journey. As we ponder the profound significance of this frozen moon, the lonely silence of the solar system suddenly feels remarkably different, transformed from a barren void into a neighborhood overflowing with hidden potential and unseen companions. We are no longer simply searching for reflections of ourselves in the vastness of space, but rather opening our minds to the beautifully alien and deeply resilient forms that life can take when left to evolve in the quiet, protected depths of the outer dark. The scarred ice of the surface is a testament to survival, a frozen shield guarding the greatest secret of the cosmos, reminding us that the most beautiful and profound discoveries often lie completely hidden just beneath the surface of the things we think we understand. Let us return our perspective to the frozen crust, standing silently on the endless, fractured plains of this magnificent moon. When we look up from the heavily scarred ice, the sky above is completely dominated by the overwhelming, mesmerizing presence of Jupiter. The giant planet hangs in the void like a colossal, swirling masterpiece of chaotic storms, casting a pale, painted light across the darkened snows of the surface. This massive neighbor is not just a visual spectacle, but the very engine of life that makes the hidden ocean possible, constantly pulling and warming the tiny world in a delicate gravitational embrace. The immense radiation sweeping out from the gas giant paints the deep cracks and high ridges of the ice with subtle shades of red and brown, a cosmic weathering that turns the frozen landscape into a beautiful, abstract canvas. These colorful deposits are likely the very salts and minerals dredged up from the dark ocean floor, cooked by the harsh particles of space into complex compounds that sit quietly on the surface. We can imagine a future where human explorers or highly advanced machines finally land upon these rust-colored ridges, tasting the ancient history of the deep without ever needing to break through the impenetrable ice. It is a world that proudly wears its heart on its sleeve, displaying the chemical secrets of its hidden depths for anyone patient enough to read the subtle colors of the frost. The profound realization that we are looking at an active, breathing environment completely changes the way we perceive the cold outer edges of our solar system. For decades, we viewed these distant realms as nothing more than dead, frozen monuments to the early days of planetary formation, locked away in an eternal, unchanging winter. But Europa has taught us to look deeper, to understand that ice can act as a perfect, insulating blanket, protecting delicate internal ecosystems from the violent extremes of the open cosmos. The continuous cycle of warm rock interacting with salty water, combined with the slow, deliberate churning of the frozen shell, creates an elegant, self-sustaining machine perfectly tuned for the preservation of chemistry. This is why the scientific community regards this small, pale pearl as the absolute greatest hope for discovering a second genesis of life within our own cosmic neighborhood. It possesses every single ingredient necessary for biological creation, all safely contained within a stable, long-lasting environment that has remained beautifully undisturbed for billions of years. The bombardment of high-energy particles from Jupiter is incredibly lethal to any biology attempting to survive on the exposed surface, yet it remains a crucial part of the delicate biological equation. This invisible storm constantly breaks apart the simple water molecules of the ice, reforming them into oxygen-rich compounds that slowly migrate downward into the dark waters over millions of years. It is a beautiful, paradoxical mechanism where the very forces that make the surface completely uninhabitable are secretly providing the essential chemical fuel for the ocean below. If we were to capture a single drop of that deep water and find microscopic organisms swimming within it, our entire perspective on the nature of existence would fundamentally shift overnight. We would suddenly know that life is not a fragile, unique accident isolated to a single rocky planet, but a robust, resilient force capable of taking root wherever water and energy quietly meet. The immense patience of this frozen world is perhaps its most profound characteristic, enduring the chaotic history of the solar system with a calm, unyielding grace. It has watched silent comets pass by, felt the gentle tug of neighboring moons, and weathered the constant storms of radiation, all while keeping its precious internal waters perfectly safe and warm. This long, enduring silence speaks to the incredible stability of the hidden environment, offering a vast, uninterrupted stretch of deep time for complex chemistry to slowly weave itself into the intricate patterns of biology. As we stand in our minds upon the quiet ice, feeling the faint, deep vibrations of the hidden currents below, we are deeply connected to the endless, beautiful mystery of creation. The universe is not a barren, empty void, but a vast, incredibly diverse canvas where the conditions for life can emerge in the most unexpected and breathtaking places. Slowly, we begin to lift away from the colorful, fractured plains, leaving the quiet ice behind to float back up into the vast, open expanse of space. The silent, invisible plumes of water vapor gently brush past our imagination one last time as we ascend into the eternal twilight. The massive, swirling storms of Jupiter slowly recede into the distance, shrinking back into a brilliant, painted sphere hanging gracefully against the endless dark. We drift outward, crossing the immense, empty distances that quietly separate the giant planets, beginning our long return toward the warm, familiar light of our own distant star. Looking back at the small, glowing pearl of Europa, we carry with us the profound realization that the cosmos is overflowing with hidden wonders, quiet sanctuaries of liquid water, and comforting warmth waiting patiently in the shadows. The universe is entirely governed by these beautiful, unseen forces, from the deep gravitational tides that massage a frozen moon to the slow, silent chemical reactions that might one day spark the profound miracle of biology. We are simply a small, intensely curious part of this grand, ongoing story, forever reaching out into the dark to understand the magnificent mechanics of the celestial clockwork. The journey to understand these distant worlds brings a deep, settling sense of peace, a comforting reminder that we belong to a universe that is incredibly resilient, endlessly dynamic, and full of beautiful, hidden potential. As the bright, unblinking pinpricks of the stars slowly drift past our vision, the complex mysteries of planetary science gently fade into the background, replaced by the simple, quiet elegance of the cosmic ocean. The same fundamental, ancient elements that make up the deep, salty waters of that alien world are the very same elements that compose our own bodies, connecting us intimately and forever to every distant moon and burning star. There is a profound tranquility in knowing that the delicate conditions for life might be quietly humming away in the dark, creating a gentle, unseen harmony that echoes softly across the vast, empty distances of space. We can finally let go of the intense need to uncover every answer, completely allowing the immense, slow, and steady rhythms of the universe to wash over us like a calming tide. The silent, heavily scarred surface of the distant moon will simply continue its slow, endless dance around its massive parent planet, keeping its deep, aquatic secrets perfectly safe for another quiet millennium. As the gentle, pale light of the distant stars slowly fades away into a comfortable, deeply encompassing dark, we allow our wandering minds to drift effortlessly into a state of total, peaceful rest. The incredibly long, beautiful journey through the outer dark has come to a gentle, quiet end, leaving us perfectly aligned with the slow, magnificent stillness of the eternal cosmos.